Black Friday is just around the corner. Now, I love Black Friday. I've always enjoyed going out with either my wife or my kids, and we just have fun going out trying to secure some really good deals. But what if I told you you can get better than Black Friday deals on quality, good, used home theater equipment all throughout the year? In this video, I want to share with you a pretty wild story on how I scored this incredible deal on this 11-speaker Klipsch RS62 version 2 system for only $2,000. Now today, I'm excited to share with you that I just launched a brand new 26 video course called Secrets of Scoring Youthman Deals. In this video series, I share with you exactly the things that I did to score countless number of Youthman deals over the past 14 years. Now, I don't know about you, but 14 years ago, I was broke as a goat and I didn't have a lot of money. And so I had to figure out a way to build a home theater on a really tight budget. Now, one of the best ways I know to build a nice home theater on a limited budget is by purchasing quality used home theater equipment. And in this course, I'll show you exactly how to do just that. Now, be sure to head over to youthmancourses.com. I'll leave a link to it down in the description below. I'm even offering a 50% Black Friday discount if you use the coupon code BF2020. Well, over the past 14 years as I've been building my home theater, I've spent a lot of time searching the used market for great deals. Now, several years ago, I was searching Craigslist for Klipsch, no surprise there, and I came across this incredible ad. Check this out. This seller listed two Klipsch RB81s for $208 a pair. They also had two Klipsch RS62 version 2 surround sound speakers, and it listed for $379, so I wasn't sure if that was for a single speaker or for a pair. And then they also had a Klipsch RC64 for $433. Now, honestly, when I first saw this, I had no idea where they came up with these weird amounts. I mean, who lists a center channel speaker for $433? Now, I was mainly interested in the RB81s as well as the RC64. I wanted the RB81s for my office, and then I wanted to see about getting the RC64 for my friend Sean, who has an incredible home theater. I've actually done a tour on his system, so I'll leave a link in the card above to his setup as well as in the description below. So the ad stated that it was a yard sale. And so this yard sale was going to take place in a few days, but I reached out to the seller and asked if I could come and look at them. Now, the seller was asking $13.99 for all 5 speakers, but after some negotiating, we came to an agreed price of $900. That's right, $900. I made arrangements with the seller to come buy them the following morning. So the next morning I got up, headed to the ATM to withdraw the $900, even though honestly I probably wasn't going to buy the RS62 version 2s. I already had the RS52s and just really didn't feel a need for larger surrounds. So I arrived at the home, knocked on the door, and a lady answered. We walk around to the garage and she opens it up, and immediately I see the RB81 and the RC64 sitting there. So I go over to examine the speakers to see what kind of condition they're in, and I remove the grill off of the RB81s, and I quickly realized something. These were not the version 1s that I was going to look at, but instead she actually had the version 2, which were only about a year old. I walk over to the RC64, remove that speaker grill, and it too was the RC64 version 2. Now, I was already going there because this was a Youthman deal. But now that these went from version 1 to version 2, and they're still the same price, that was a killer Youthman deal. And honestly, I was extremely excited. Now, during our conversation, she mentioned the fact that she had just recently got a divorce, which was truly unfortunate, but she was wanting to get all of these speakers out of her garage and free up some space. Now, before I gladly handed her the $900 for the RB61 version 2s, the RC64 version 2s, and I still had yet to see the RS62 version 2s. I wanted to kind of confirm that that's the agreement that we had talked about. And so I confirmed with her, that I'm giving her $900 in exchange for those 5 speakers. And when I mentioned the surround speakers, the RS62s, she looked at me and she said, "Oh no, those were expensive. I was talking about the big speakers." What big speakers? So she walks over around the corner and she begins to look at the speakers, and she leans down and she says, "These say RF7 on them." Guys, I literally about hit the floor. So excitedly, I asked her if I could come over and look at the speakers, and she said absolutely. So I walked around the corner and looked at the RF7s, and so I pulled the speaker grill off of them, and to my surprise, once again, these were not the RF7s. These were the RF7 version 2. I also found out she not only had one pair of RS62 version 2s, but she also had a second pair of RS62 version 2s. She had a ridiculous system, 11 speakers in total, and I didn't have enough money to buy them all. So here she was, willing to sell the RF7 version 2s, the RB81 version 2s, and the RC64 version 2 for $900. Now guys, I literally was about to fall over. I was so ecstatic that this deal was almost too good to be true. As we were finishing up, I noticed an Onkyo TX-NR, I believe it was an 808 on the shelf. And so I just figured, well, this deal's going pretty good so far, so let me just throw out something else. So I said, "Ma'am, if I pay you the $900 cash for these 5 speakers, would you also be willing to throw in and include the Onkyo receiver?" She looked at me, she thought just for a split second, she said, "That was expensive, but sure, you can have it." Guys, I'm speechless at this moment. Needless to say, I paid her quickly, loaded up the speakers. We had a little bit more conversation. And then as I was packing up, she mentioned that she had another guy that was supposed to be coming over to get the remaining 4 speakers. So I pay her the $900, load up all the speakers, and then come back in the garage to get the Onkyo receiver. And when I grabbed it, it was just an empty box. There was no receiver in it. And at first I was like, oh man. But then she said, actually, now that I think about it, my mom has that receiver at her house. So she calls mom on the phone and says, "Hey mom, I've got a guy here that's buying some speakers and buying the receiver. Can you bring that over?" Well, I had already promised and assured my wife that I would be back at a certain time. We'd made some plans to do something later on that night, and I knew I was already running close to that time. I still had an hour-and-a-half drive to get back home. And so we waited around for maybe 5-10 minutes. And so I told her, I said, "Ma'am," I said, I hate to kind of rush, but I've got to get out of here. I promised my wife I'd be back in town in time to go on like a date night. I forget what exactly we were doing, but I promised her I'd be back at a certain time. And instead of the Onkyo receiver, would you be willing to throw in a pair of the RS62 version 2s, the surround speakers? And to my surprise, she was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So I handed her the $900, loaded up the RF7 version 2 towers, the RC64 version 2 center channel, the RB81 version 2 bookshelf speakers, and also a pair of the Klipsch RS62 version 2 surround sound speakers. Now, just before I left, she mentioned to me that she had another gentleman that was supposed to come that night to buy the remaining RF7 version 2s and the remaining RS62 version 2 surrounds. So I thanked her, we said our goodbyes, I loaded up, and I headed back home. So later that night, I ended up texting the seller because I wanted to find out, did the other gentleman come and purchase the remaining 4 speakers? So I texted her that night once, didn't hear back. Maybe an hour or 2 went by, texted her again, maybe another hour, texted her again, still nothing. Now the yard sale that was mentioned in the ad was supposed to take place the very next morning at about 7:30. So I went to bed, I think about 12:30 in the morning, maybe 1 o'clock, kind of tossed and turned all night. You know how you get when when you know that there's a possibility of you're going to get this really amazing deal, and you're kind of anxious. And so all night I was kind of tossing and turning. Finally got to sleep a little bit and then woke up, I think about 4 or 5 in the morning, and figured, what the heck, let me just go ahead and get up and get ready. So I got ready, and my plan was to leave, I think by 6 o'clock in the morning, to be able to get there at 7:30 when her garage sale began. Now I knew it was going to be a gamble because I still haven't heard back from the seller. I've got an hour-and-a-half drive, but I figured it was worth giving it a shot. So I headed to the bank. I withdrew another $900 thinking that'd be plenty. She also had an RW10D subwoofer. It's like a small 10-inch subwoofer that she had mentioned to me. And so I figured, I'd see if I could get her to throw in the 4 speakers and the subwoofers for the remaining $900. So because it's really early in the morning, I didn't want to text her. So as I got about 45 minutes out, I was at like a red light, and I just texted her real quick and said, hey, I'm actually on the way to your yard sale. I've got $900 cash with me. Would you be willing to sell those remaining 4 speakers and the subwoofer? Well, apparently she must have done some additional research that night to find out how much those speakers were worth. She said no, but she'd be willing to take $1,800 for all 5 speakers. Now that was twice of what I paid just 2 days before, and it was for less speakers. So needless to say, I really wasn't interested in that deal. I didn't have enough money to buy all 5 speakers, so I thought, maybe I can ask her to remove the subwoofer and to see what she'd be willing to take. And again, it was about $500 more than what I had with me and what I was willing to spend. So I told her, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to offer her asking price. She then proceeded to tell me that there was a gentleman that was on his way there to buy the speakers for her full asking price of $1,800. Well, I wasn't willing to pay that much, so I decided, well, let me go kill some time. I'll go grab some breakfast, maybe hang out about an hour, give him some time to come by, and then I'll come back and check to see if he actually purchased them. So I eat my breakfast, kill some time, go back about 30 minutes after the time that he was supposed to be there, and when I get there, the gentleman had not showed up. He had not purchased the speakers, but she was still unwilling to accept my offer. So I kindly thanked her for her time, told her to keep my information if she decided to sell them at my asking price to give me a call. So on the way home, I knew I had just wasted 3 hours of driving, technically about 4 hours because I spent an hour just kind of killing time and grabbing breakfast. But to me, that was worth it if I would have been able to score the remaining 4 speakers for $900. So late that night, I just couldn't get it out of my head. Did that guy ever show up and buy the remaining 4 speakers? Well, guys, I just had to know. So I texted her back and said, hey, just checking in to see if he came and purchased the speakers. Didn't hear from her for a little bit. Texted her again. I said, look, I'd be willing to make a 3rd trip. So this would be 9 hours total of driving, and I'll give you a little bit of extra cash. I think I offered her maybe $100, maybe $200 in addition to the $900. So it was either $1,000 or $1,100 for the remaining 4 speakers. So that put me about $2,000 for the entire system. Well, to my surprise, she said, yes, you can come get them for that amount. So here I was making a 3rd trip the following day to purchase the remaining 4 speakers for around $1,000. Like I said, I think it was either $1,000 or maybe $1,100. And as we wrapped up, it was just a really, really pleasant time. Her and her daughter was extremely grateful to get these speakers out of their garage and to once again have some space there. I was ecstatic because I was going to have some cool, incredible home theater speakers. And I had plans to give my son the center channel, and I was going to bless a friend of mine in Alabama with a pair of the RF7 IIs. I just told him, I said, sell your RF3s, which he had the little speakers. I said, sell them for whatever you can. Sell your center channel, sell your surrounds. I've got better center channel and I've got a better surround I can send to you, which at that time was the RC7 and the RS7s. And he ended up selling his system for $700, I think, maybe $750. Sent me that money, and I gladly gave him the RF7 version 2s. And then I ended up selling the RB81 version 2s because I found out I didn't really have space for those large bookshelf speakers. So all in all, I spent 9 hours of driving, a few days of negotiating, and overall I spent right at $2,000 for this entire 11 speaker Klipsch RF7 version 2 system. Now at no point did I try to manipulate her or to mislead her. I simply had an amount of cash that I was willing to spend and made an offer. She had some speakers that she had no desire for, and they were just taking up space. Through patience, 9 hours of driving, and quite a bit of negotiating, we both ended up coming to an agreement that we were both satisfied with. Now, over the past 11 years, I have been able to score a ton of deals just like this one, or at least very similar to it. Deals that were really, really great prices and deals that were really too good to pass up. I had purchased so many deals that in the Klipsch community, they began to coin the phrase Youthman deals. Now, if you're like I was when I started my home theater journey 11 years ago, I didn't have a whole lot of money. I wanted a nice home theater. I just thought that you had to be rich to have a really nice home theater. But through the process of buying used equipment at really, really good prices, later on selling that to upgrade to another really, really good price, a lot of times I was able to sell what I had for more than what I paid for to be able to fund my entire home theater. So over the past 14 years, I've continued to purchase one Youthman deal after another, just continually finding deals that just blew my mind, thinking, how in the world did I come across this deal? But there's a system that I developed over and over, and it continued to work time and time again. So I decided to create an online course that would encompass all of the tips and the tricks, all the things that I've learned over the past 14 years of how to score these incredible Youthman deals, and I wanted to teach you how you could do the same. Now, I spent the past few weeks developing a 26 video online course to teach you exactly what I've done for the past 14 years to score some ridiculous Youthman deals. If you're interested in checking out the course, I'll have a link down in the description below. The course is only $40, but during the month of November, I'm offering a Black Friday discount of 50% off, bringing the course down to only $20. Now, I'll post a link to the course down in the description below. Be sure to use coupon code BF2020. And as always, you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you in the next video.